Hey there, and welcome once more, friends. I sincerely thank you for joining today's episode of our building, adventuring, exploring little journey. If you end up liking this video, kindly consider pressing that subscription button and the bell to receive a notification about all the new Froghead material that comes out. Or just simply leave me a like or a comment. Constructive criticism, just a show of support. I'm really happy for anything. With that out of the way, let me introduce to you the project that we'll be taking on today. It's quite an exciting one. As you could see just now while we were outside, winter has set in, not just in real life but in Minecraft too. The lake is freezing over. There's harsh cold winds blowing through the forest. Sometimes there's a fog that makes the entire air feel like it's frozen solid. The forest, our peaceful pines, are adorned with jewels of frosted cobwebs and thick covers of snow. Strangely enough, the geese have not migrated south. They're still with us, and we're very grateful to them for keeping us company. But as winter is here, it's time for us to do something fitting. In the first part of this video, we'll be building the basics, the outline, the construction part of the project. And in the second part, I will do a bit of live commentary while we're decorating it. The project itself is going to be harnessing, so to speak, a lovely hot spring area that is nearby. This was generated naturally in the world, I believe the courtesy of the Terralith mod, which adds a bunch of very interesting biomes. Ever so slightly fantastic, but still, I would say, not any more off the ground than some of the actual wonders of nature. We'll be building a little cover, a little roof, under which people who come to visit us in the Froghead Watchtower, the Froghead Guest House, this wonderful area with the forests and the lake, they could go there, take a bath if they like, in the steaming, foggy, very nicely warm, comfortable water. Then pop out, quickly wrap themselves in towels, and perhaps head towards a winter bar that we will assemble under that roof that I mentioned, to have some mulled wine, have some tea, perhaps grab a book, sit down to read nearby, or just chat. And of course, it wouldn't be a proper winter episode if we didn't add some fitting decorations, so we're going to be using some wonderful light strings and lanterns. We're going to be adding a lot of adornments made of spruce leaves, pine leaves and pine branches. It's going to be, as you could see in the intro, obviously, quite an aesthetic little work by the time we're finished with it. With that said, you have nothing else to do than just to kick back and let's have a bit of a chat. I'm recording this after the gameplay itself, so I also don't have to concentrate on what we're crafting, what we're building. I'm just here with you, paying attention to you, telling you about some winter-related, holiday and Christmas-related things that I'm enthusiastic about. Obviously, not all of us celebrate Christmas, right? But I would say around the end of the year, a lot of traditions celebrate something around this time. Perhaps they celebrate Christmas at a bit of a later date. In the Eastern Christian circle or area of tradition, such as Russia, for instance, and Georgia, they celebrate Christmas a little later, but it's Christmas nonetheless. As far as I'm aware, some of the traditions that we pair with Christmas, we associate with it, it's more like it's more part of a New Year's celebration for them. I don't pretend to be an expert on this, but I do have a wonderful Georgian person for a friend, and she's told me some of these interesting little traditions. Some others might not celebrate anything at all, but I believe there's a bit of festive spirit in general around winter. It's difficult to escape it, right? Of course, it can be a little overwhelming. Even if you celebrate Christmas and you receive a bunch of presents, I know that it's also a solid amount of stress for a lot of people. One pattern that I've experienced myself and also have heard from others is that you're preparing so much, so intensely for this period or for the last couple of days for Christmas itself. You want to clean everything, you want to get all the presents for everybody. Perhaps there's an extra bit of rush in your work around this time of the year because you have to close finances early or something like that. You're preparing so much that there's no energy left to actually enjoy the festivities when you get there. And that's horrible. I wouldn't wish that to anyone. So of course we have to prepare, but we have to do it in a balanced way that leaves us some energy to properly appreciate whatever comes after. Good times with the family, very tasty lunches and dinners and breakfasts perhaps, board games, card games, lots of laughs. Perhaps a bit of listening to some silly topics or some unwelcome topics at Christmas dinner. Some friends of mine have told me that there always comes a point when the family has drunken a little, and they start talking about politics very enthusiastically. I can imagine that generates some stress. I wouldn't in my weirdest, most abstract dreams associate politics with anything relaxing or calm. Then perhaps it's not just family times, but also time for looking inward. For some of us, just because we have some time off of work, and it's the perfect opportunity to be calm. For some of us, maybe because it is a religious tradition to celebrate something on that front. Of course, Christmas inherently is something that's closely connected with the Christian faith. And I remember that in my family it was always, I believe it added some magic, that we really were, so to speak, waiting for someone to be born. And whether you agree with this, whether you celebrate this part of Christmas or not, I think most of the mood that we feel around this time is universal. And it's nice. There's of course a whole bunch of different Christmas traditions and customs and habits, even changing from family to family. But I would say what's universal about most of them is the waiting period and then the celebration period, which is very nice. In my family, we used to celebrate Advent. We used to sit down together every Sunday and pray together. Then of course we celebrated Christmas itself when the time came. These are very intimate times. That's a good word for them. Very, yes, inner ones, I would say. Leaving the outside world completely to itself, and either looking inward towards our conscience, our soul, our spirit, or towards the family, towards being together with those closest to us. Of course, then the festivities bring some extra lovely things with them. And I had a bit of a look before making this video about all the different Christmas treats that people make in different nations and countries and continents even. And oh my goodness, the variety is absolutely crazy. Here in Hungary, there's one special sweet that I don't want to call Hungarian, because it is also my experience that when I call something Hungarian, it can turn out that it doesn't originate from us. It might originate from some of our neighbors. So I don't want to be wrong, don't want to sound silly. but it is something that is very popular here, and we will get back to that in the decorations part, because there is an item that I found that resembles this particular sweet treat very much. Besides this bakery, which is the name of this treat, there's also a bunch of other things that at least we traditionally prepare in the family. One of them is a sort of bundt cake, which is covered with dark chocolate, and its dough is enhanced with a bit of orange zest, and it's very soft, goes extremely well with any kind of spreadable foods like Nutella or different kind of jams. I don't much like butter just like that, but a lot of other people in my family do, so that's another option. And you can even dip that in milk, perhaps hot chocolate, maybe coffee. I wouldn't say it's universal, but it's very diverse in its utility, and it tastes great anyway. Obviously, the perhaps most popular Christmas treat that all of us know is gingerbread. And it's quite simple. I wouldn't say there's a million different variations about it, but I do know one little hack. If you've been struggling with your gingerbread hardening and drying out too quickly, then you should try putting it in a box with a couple of apple slices. And as the apple releases its moisture, the gingerbread absorbs it and it remains nice and soft. I have a wonderful friend who, while she used to live in the country, every Christmas and otherwise we made a bunch of different cookies and sweets, and gingerbread was always a go-to option. And what I liked to do is, people to whom I wasn't so close, I liked gifting them with just some homemade little treats. I very much enjoy gifting people. I would say that's a love language I can relate to. So, people like a dentist, a barista that always serves me and is extra kind about it. Some other people who sometimes help me with my charity projects. They would and will this year receive this kind of a reward, so to speak, for their niceness throughout the year. I've also been getting myself into the Christmas spirit very diligently, and there was a couple of different events and things that helped me with this. It quite honestly was not difficult. I believe the first thing that started this process was ordering Christmas gifts for business partners that we used to work with during the year. And there was this huge catalog of all sorts of items that could be branded. It was made for especially this purpose, so that companies could gift each other or their clients. They could be branded and they could be sent to that partner quite easily through this all-in-one service. And there wasn't even just one catalog, there was like 4 of them, and they were all quite extensive. Now, it was already wonderful because I like the idea of choice. It's very nice when you can browse through something and just enjoy the fact that you can choose any one of them. You have the options. I'm not sure why that's so enjoyable, but I've known this since kindergarten. I remember it was in kindergarten when I had the choice of 2 different jumpers to wear outside, and I remember that it felt nice that I had that choice. And at the age of 4 or so, I thought to myself, that's interesting, I like choice so much. I like options a lot. Anyway, so there were all sorts of items. Kitchen items, bowls, utensils, plate holders and bottle holders, and spice racks, and every damn thing you can imagine. I apologize for that word. But everything you can imagine was there. There was even a bottle holder that you could open, and it was a chessboard or a Ludo board. I never understood that word, by the way, because it just means game in Latin, and I always thought it was mistranslated and not specified what kind of game it is, but apparently it does relate to a specific type of board game. So there were all of these kitchen items. There was interesting little packages that included seeds and pots and tiny amounts of soil. It was like a very simple little plant for the house that you could plant and watch it grow from the very first stages of its life. Of course, there was a lot of office-related items, digital ones or electronic ones such as headphones, solar-powered power banks, all sorts of pen holders, and another thing that really caught my fancy were notebooks. Of course, I like organizing things, I like writing checklists and then ticking out all of those tasks when they're completed. So the notebooks they were just wonderful to even look at. It really would have been nice to create an ASMR video flipping through these magazines, but sadly they were all digital. Well, at least no trees were cut down to produce them, but I couldn't make such a video either because it's digital, of course. I can't flip the pages, we can't listen to that sound of the paper stroking the other page. We can't tap on the page to point at something. Anyway, so there were lots of notebooks, lots of folders, portfolio types. One of those I even ordered for myself. I told my colleagues, it's okay, I'll pay it, don't worry. But I like it so much, I would like to gift myself with this. Then sadly it turns out that shipping to my country would have cost triple the value of the item itself, so I let that go. Let's see what else was there. Of course, lots of shirts that you could brand, and then accessories as well, like umbrellas. There were hoodies, hats of different kinds. I don't remember any socks, although that would have been a fun one. But no, that's as far as clothes go. There were backpacks, of course. And they all looked very nice and modern and sustainable. They used a lot of bamboo as material, which is of course it's a plant that grows very quickly, spreads very quickly. Well, it is the same way in Minecraft. So it's quite a sustainable resource if you produce it well. So looking through all those magazines and just making those choices was a wonderful way of getting me into the Christmas spirit. Then there was another thing, which was a trip that I made. A little bit to avoid what I mentioned before, this kind of not necessarily burning out, but just burning up all the energy and not being able to enjoy Christmas itself. I thought if I really pushed myself around the end of the year, that might happen. So I took a week off. Fortunately, I had that many holidays, and I went to the Czech Republic for a week to hike. And it was absolutely wonderful. It is difficult to put into words. I thought about making an ASMR video there, but sadly it wasn't, I did not really have the equipment. I just had a phone, and that's about everything. It was nonetheless wonderful. I was very lucky because I did see some snow while I was hiking the first couple of days. I would say above 800 meters. It was permanent, it didn't melt. So while it was a bit more slippery to walk those roads, they were also very pretty, covered in white. And I also went for a bit of extra adventure one time when I left the trail and I walked up in a waterbed, in a little bed of a creek that was also completely covered in snow, but I saw one track of well, not footprints, but a pair of prints with these how do I call them? Snow rackets or snowshoes. Yes. So I thought, if this person could do it, I can do it as well, even though I only had my hiking boots. So I went for it, and it was very steep, very long. I didn't see where the summit was because the entire mountain was covered in pine trees. That could be said for just about everywhere I went. Nonetheless, as I conquered the altitude, things got more and more snowy and more quiet as well. There wasn't any wind either because of the very thick forest, and it was a very difficult experience, but at the same time a very relaxing one. This is something I've noticed before, and I think if you do any sort of strong, hard exercise, I think you know what I'm talking about, that when you are there, when you are pushing yourself really hard, all the worries of the world just melt away. Your body, and so your brain, can't really afford to think about the taxes and the relationship drama and all of those things. when you need all your mental focus to be pointed in your muscles, otherwise you collapse. Perhaps people, or some people, wouldn't call that relaxing. I do, and I very much enjoy that kind of relaxation. I call it by hardship at peace. So I went for these hikes, and on the last day my luck ran out and I caught a very heavy snowfall on the last trip that I took, because I wanted to do 100 kilometers throughout the week, and I needed 7 more on the day I went home. So I went for a very light, chill little trip to another village. But on the way back I thought, I'm not going to walk in the same valley where I came through, because the road was collapsed at some point, and let's change things up. I'll just take the highway. It wasn't a highway, it was just a concrete road. Now, there was one thing on the concrete road that was not in the valley with the forest. Wind. But the wind was so stupidly strong that it made a trip that started out quite simple into a very strenuous and challenging one. I laughed at myself a little there for running into this little prank by nature, but we powered through it, and I managed to get home. I went for the cafe in that tiny village where I stayed. I was lucky because it had a very nice cafe with a very kind barista or cashier who even gifted me a couple of homemade specialties there, which was quite honestly not my favorite, but the kindness was still appreciated. What she gave me was just cream rolls, I would say. That's a quite fitting description. It's a very basic pastry dough, quite buttery, quite light, fluffy, and it's also quite a basic egg white cream within, with some sugar, and I don't think any significant spices are in there. Now that wasn't so great, but I did also buy an apple pie that they did also make at that little cafe, and that was absolutely phenomenal. It was a good size too. I was just sitting there, snowstorm absolutely raging outside, and I had my coffee, I had my apple pie. It was warm. I was steaming a little bit because all the snow that froze onto my clothes and my face and my hands was melting and then evaporating. It was a very nice moment. I also ended up visiting on a different day a paper factory that was at yet another village nearby. Well, 18 kilometers nearby, but that was a good hike too. Sadly, it wasn't also a printing press, because I would have enjoyed to see some authentic prints, but they did make paper with traditional methods from traditional ingredients, which is fabric, textile waste. And even though I was the only person in the museum that day, yes, I believe the entire day I must have been the only guest actually, I found some ladies, and through a little bit of German, a little bit of English, we managed to understand each other, and they very kindly showed me around the place and showed me the entire process of making paper with these methods, and also machines that were very old. They did show me a press that was used for, well, thinning the paper sheets by pressing them together with a huge force. That was built in the 18th century, so 1700s. There was yet another one, which was a bit more advanced, but it was used for the same purpose. That was also from 1883. So that's, yeah, about 140 years from now. Quite interesting. That was this trip, the second thing that got me into the Christmas mood, because how can you not think of Christmas when you're walking around snow-covered pine trees? Finally, I came home from this trip, and the very next day I woke up, I thought, I have to make some cookies. And I found some nice recipes for protein cookies, actually, that also tasted nice. It's an important disclaimer or distinction to make when you're talking about overly healthy foods. But this is not overly healthy, it just has some protein in it, some extra protein. But they're made with vanilla and lemon zest, and they're extremely simple. You don't even have to bake them. You can, and I will when I make them next, because they're going to be a bit more crunchy like that, and I like that a bit more than the very soft and a bit sticky results that I got for the first time. But they're wonderful nonetheless. So I made those cookies. I have since made more, shared them with colleagues and some friends, and they all attested that they're great. So just leave a comment. If you're interested in the recipe, I would gladly give it to you. And then I made another thing which I did bake, and that was I made the dough before at another occasion, and we filled it with some ham, some cheese, corn, and red onions. It was almost, I would say, a pizza pastry. It was also a raised dough in the shape of a triangle, and it was filled with these lovely things, and then some sesame seeds were sprinkled on top. And you could use other seeds, obviously, but sesame and perhaps flax seeds, yes, I believe that's what it is, are the best for this one. So I made the same dough, but I filled it with turkey and, oh goodness, how do I say this? Well, the closest I could say is a cottage cheese or perhaps curd kind of consistency, dairy cream with garlic and some other spices. And that was mixed with some sour cream and the turkey that I pre-cooked, and I put that into the dough, put the whole thing into the oven, and it came out wonderfully. It was, I wouldn't say it was extremely healthy, because the dough did require a lot of oil as well. Coconut oil was what I used, but it was very nice and filling and tasty. I was so happy about it, I had to share it with some neighbors right away. And another barista from another cafe. I like going to cafes, what can I say? And I like talking to people working there. So that was the final thing that got me into the Christmas mood, but of course it doesn't stop there. I hope that you're also having some of these events in your life, because they're just great. You can also tell me in the comments if you have any other suggestions for getting into that wintry, cozy, Christmassy mood. What you have been doing this year, or what you will still do, or some interesting traditions that you might have with your family or your friends. There's of course mulled wine, which is a nice thing, and I'll probably make it tomorrow. Perhaps after visiting a Christmas market, or maybe I'll just get it at the Christmas market, we will see. But it's also nice because you can make it in a lot of different varieties. You can make it from red wine or white wine, probably also from rosé, and you can add some extra flavor with some apple juice. Obviously cinnamon and cloves are basics, but you can probably go for some cardamom, ginger, maybe add some stronger alcohol like brandy to have that mulled wine hit a bit harder. Anyway, we are very close to finishing the building part of this wonderful winter bar and hot spring area. So I will not say goodbye just yet, because we'll go to the decorations that I set aside in advance in a chest. We will now switch to live commentary and join you there. You will be welcomed by myself about 4 hours earlier when I recorded that part. So, thank you for joining this one, and talk to you very soon, so to speak. Alright friends, welcome back. So, as you can see, we've successfully built this roof and mini winter bar with some chairs and tables inside. We have the hot springs, currently frozen, but we'll work on that. And we just have a little campfire with a couple of benches next to it, so you can chill in your selection of 3 lovely places. But here comes the loveliest part. As you know, I like decorating things, and I believe if you like watching my videos, then that's probably one of your favorite parts as well. So in this chest I've collected, before we went about this whole project, a whole bunch of lovely decorations, mostly CIT items, for which we will use these item frames, but some other ones as well. So let us start with these. Let me just make some more space in my inventory. Not going to need all of this wooden material right now. So let's start with these baskets of laundry, towels, sheets, and so on and so forth. We don't really have any changing cabins, but I feel like this is such an unadulterated piece of nature here that, you know, no one's gonna be ashamed of just changing, I believe. Or maybe they can hide behind some of those bushes right there. I certainly won't hold it against anyone if they just go about this in their birthday suit. So let's place down these counters, and I think on top of them we can put these double wardrobes or cabinets so you can store your clothes and your belongings while you're taking a bath. And let's add some of these hanging towels. Now I believe I have to put the item frames up here. Yes, that works beautifully. And of course we'll have some this basket of laundry for perhaps some used sheets or used towels that you're no longer going to wear. Let's have another one maybe here. This is maybe clean, or another set. We have some more towels we can place on top here. Maybe someone just accidentally left that over there. We have some clothes, some coat hangers, but maybe we can hang those up here. If you happen to need them, you can take one off and put it that way, put your clothes that way into these wardrobes. And of course, since people take baths and all these towels get quite wet after they use them, why don't we put this clothesline right over here, just as a bit of a background addition to make this scene more authentic. That's great. I believe that's about it for the laundry. Let's see what else we're going to add. We still have a lot to do. I have a lot of strings and lamps and lights. Perhaps let's leave that for the last. That always makes everything so glamorous and so festive. So let's leave that for the last part. I have some snowmen here. Why not? Let's see, the snowmen can stand around, I believe. One of them can chill here. Oh, it looks like the texture for his scarf, or her scarf, I wonder, is missing. Or we can just say that this snowman has a very colorful, high contrast scarf. Well, we're going to leave it like that for now. And we're going to add another equally cute snowman, perhaps not right next to the magma block. He wouldn't have a very long life, sadly, but we can add them here. Just having a little, just watching over those who come here to take a load off and take a bath. This guy is taking care of them, looking after them. I have some wood here that is always good to have, especially if you have a stove that you need to keep fired up. And I have a bucket of water as well that quite fits the theme of this hot spring and sauna arrangement. So let's add that here. I have some books. I wonder where we could place those. Perhaps we could make some more counters. Or maybe some of these tables. Let's see, just some more surface area, maybe around the campfire, maybe next to... Yes, why not? Let's have a couple of those counters. I wonder if we can make them out of the materials we have right now. Not really. We need logs for that. So let me cut down this tree. But just to have some more surface area around our little hot spring bath, so people can place maybe some cups, maybe a couple of books, just maybe their keys and their wallet if they have that in this world, so that it's closer to them. They don't need to worry about where they go. So let's say 3 of these counters. That sounds good. Let me put one here, let me put one there, and let's see, another one maybe next to this bench. Oh, wait, just realized the campfire might need some surface area. So let's put it there. That looks nice. And then someone has apparently been reading some nice books right here next to the campfire. There was another person who was reading one perhaps as they were sitting in the water, or laying down, or somewhere in between. Oops, I need the item frame first, and then we put it here. And this person just put their book down. And that's about it. Let's see what else we've got. It's coming along very nicely, if I do say so myself. So, I think we can move on to the bar now. I have some plant decorations as always. Obviously this is winter themed, so we're not going to go crazy about the greenery, but I have some ferns that are... Oh, what's wrong here? I wonder why I can't add that there. I have some ferns that might be able to withstand the cold. Maybe one goes there, hanging down from the top, looking good. How about one on one of these walls? I'm not sure why I can't place it there. I can place it on this side. There's nothing on top there. I can place it on top here. That's quite strange. Is it the fence preventing it? It was, apparently. Interesting. Well, we don't need this fence necessarily, so let's have that fern over there, and I have one more for the floor, which we can possibly just put here in the corner. That's nice. That's plenty of plant decoration in terms of ferns, but I have some flower pots and spruce tree saplings, which is going to, well, I mean, that is realistic if you think about it. Spruce trees don't mind the cold, don't mind the wind and all that. So flower pot goes down, spruce tree goes inside. We can put one here. This is going to be a very nice green corner. And maybe we can put one... Let's put one next to the campfire. Right there. Beautiful. Plant decorations are also done. Up next... Okay, I was lying, I'm sorry. I have some more spruce plant decorations. We have some of these much more festive and Christmassy, just spruce branch arrangements. Now, I don't think we can place them onto the logs, onto these beams, because as you can see, okay, we actually can. I thought because of the 3D effect they might be hidden, but they actually look very nice. So that's amazing. It means that we're going to place them on this beam, and then we can do one yellow and then a green one. Oh, not this, sorry, not green one. They're all green. And not that one, but this one. It's red, or at least with some red ornaments. And we can use another one of these. Maybe we can try to rotate them in a way so that it looks like there's this playful little branches of spruce tree wrapping around, or maybe not around the beam, although we could do that. We could put it on top and then bring it down there, but it's fine. I think I'm satisfied with how this looks right now. And let's finish it up with this. That's great. And let's place some more, maybe on this beam going up. We have 3, so one goes here, another one goes there, and the final one goes... Oops, what happened? The final one, yes, okay, perfect. Final one goes there. Oh goodness, that's looking very nice. Now, we have two more of these, not as much of a creeping, it's not really a vine, obviously. It's an artificial assembly of spruce branches, I suppose tied or wired together in some way. But this is more of a, it could be a tabletop decoration. If I put it here, so you can see it's got a little bow, I would say. And then the spruce or perhaps mistletoe branches and leaves. So it could be something like that. Or we could also place this on the walls. So let's put one on this side. And that's nice as well. There's even a little spruce cone over there. I think that's what it is. Okay, we're going to need this space here, so I'm going to move this one someplace else. We could, let's see, where could we put this? We could put it on the side of this counter, actually. Yes, although I see that the bow is now sideways, so I wonder if we can put it on a bench, maybe? Here in the corner where no one actually sits. Maybe? Oh goodness. Oh yes, and now it's gone. Well, that's my fault, I apologize, but let's just move on with the rest of the decorations. We have this beautiful winter wreath that we could, let's see, maybe put here. Oh, very nice. This is not hidden by the 3D effect either. So this is wonderful, and I think on this side it does the best job of beautifying our little roof, little hut. Excellent, friends. Let's continue. Yes, we move on to the bar now. I will need some more item frames. There we go. All ready for all of our decorating needs. So we move on to the bar now. I will put down this menu sign, which I quite like. It immediately conveys the information that this is somewhere where you can get a nice hot drink or something. Let me put this right there. Yes, that looks great. Obviously, people are not going to be coming from the mountainside and the forest. You know, if anything, they're going to be coming from this way. But I would say, you know, even like this is quite inviting. Maybe we can put a sign somewhere in the forest pointing this way, right? Let me have this menu hang somewhere. Oh goodness, can I place this? Oh, it makes no sense to place this on a lantern actually. And these are 3D, so I don't think that's going to be shown. If I put it there. Let's see, maybe there. Oh, that doesn't make too much sense, to be honest. We'll see if we can find a better spot for these two papers. That could be a menu, could be anything. We could put them on top of the tables as well. That's an option. In fact, yes, if these are menus, maybe this counter is made just for that. So that if there's a waiter, they can just come here, grab a menu, hand it to the people sitting at the table, so they can choose their poison, so to speak. And speaking of poison, or rather speaking of drinking stuff, we have a lot of delicious, tasty things here for the guests to consume. So, what do we start with? I need to hang these cups somewhere. That's a good question. Or a good challenge, so to speak. I can't really put them here. Oops, yeah, because that becomes a painting. That doesn't make sense. So if I put it here... Okay. Okay, I thought it was again going to be hidden by this door kind of protruding, because this is also a 3D block. But there is... that's fine. So let's put another 2 white ones right there. We put this cauldron on top of the stove. This is perhaps where the mulled wine is being, well, mulled and kept warm. And there's some wine bottles here. So it's red wine, goes into the pot. Cloves and cinnamon and a lot of sugar is added, perhaps some orange slices, and then that's all cooked together. A lot of the alcohol goes out and the wine goes into the cups and we drink it. On that note, I'm going to take a sip of coffee this time. But if my calculations are correct, I am going to head to a Christmas market tomorrow. I believe I'm going to have some mulled wine. It's quite easy to prepare for yourself as well, so if you're inspired, I think you can. You still have time to do it today. Just some red wine and some spices. Yes, it is delicious, I promise you. Then we have a teapot for people who want a different kind of, but equally warming and comfortable taste. I have some, well, spices, or perhaps sugar, perhaps honey, anything that could be used for the tea. And I have some cups here that we can place onto the tables, and maybe we can place another one right here where someone thought they would like to have a little treat while sitting in the water. And I have these sweets. I have some space here for one of them. We're going to put it here. So I like this because it much reminds me of beigli. I'm not sure if that has a foreign name, but in Hungary I believe it's quite popular, and my mother and grandmother also make it every Christmas. It's essentially a raised dough, quite buttery, quite fat. You can make it with butter, you can also make it with just fat, and it's a very, it's something that fills you up nicely, perfect for the winter times, when having a belly full of good food is necessary before stepping outside into the harsh cold winds. It's a raised dough, and it's usually filled with a walnut paste or poppy seed paste. Very sweet as well, sweetened by sugar or perhaps by some alternatives. But lately I've also seen a lot of chestnut variations as well, which also sounds nice. And I have some cookies here, which we can just put to the side. There's just so many treats, they didn't find a place for everything atop the counter, so it's on the side right now, but nonetheless we can just take a cookie from there. And finally, we have arrived to one of my favorite things, the lights. I have some snowflake lanterns, some star lanterns, and some hanging lights here to use. So let's find a spot where we can use those, but as you might remember, this mod, unfortunately for this version of the game, doesn't work perfectly. It needs fences to connect to. So we're going to add, actually, there, and we have this yellow and white, oops, be careful there, yellow and white string light that we're going to hang from there over there. Amazing. Let's see, we'll hang another one, perhaps over here. But you know what, how about, let me think, how about it goes from there to the other end, maybe up there even, if we can do that. Not there. Let's just put it there then. Let's go with this yellow and orange one. Very nice, illuminating everything in here perfectly and festively. That's the most important part. And we have a white orange one, which we're just going to hang into the background here, so that all those chilling in the water have a nice view as well. Yes, perfect. And let me add some of these lights, these lanterns. So, snowflakes, oh yes, a couple of them can come here for sure. And the rest should be somewhere on the trees surrounding us. Let me put it on these leaves actually. Snowflake goes there. Where does this star go? Oh, we can even put it here, why not? It's okay, the entire area will be lit up with festive cheer. And let's put some of these, or some of them, on these trees over here. Maybe even on their trunks. I don't think that would look too bad. If I can get up there somehow. I can't. Let's be... Oh, I need to hang these. These can't stay on the side of anything. Well, maybe they can. Oh, it's the dynamic trees, I believe, that are causing the problem. But that's okay. We have plenty of leaves and trees here to use as well. So, snowflake, star. Oh, that's laying down. You know what? That's fine. That's how I decided to chill today. And another snowflake one. I wonder where this could go. Oh, let's put it back here. There. Very nice. Amazing. Let's see what else. Oh yes, we have some extra light strings that are a courtesy of the Snowy Spirit mod. These ones. But I'm not sure if we still need these, you know? This is already so festive. Nonetheless, let's put them up to some of these trees. Let me just for this purpose jump into creative. And let me add... Actually, these are brown for some reason. Let me add orange ones instead. And just... Oops. Interesting. They're supposed to be going onto leaves. What if we place the leaves ourselves, you think? That works for some reason. Interesting. Yeah, it must be dynamic trees again. Messing around. So we're just gonna place a couple of these. We don't want to ruin nature, obviously. We don't want to ruin the natural look. We don't want this to look like some artificial plants or something. But we can add a couple little... Oh yes, yes, I quite like that. Okay, amazing. And I believe that's actually enough. That is perfect. Now, it might freeze over again, but that's fine. Nonetheless, let me break some of these, and possibly just for a couple of screenshots or a few moments, we can add the magma blocks underneath the water so they produce some smoke columns as well. That will look very nice. Just like that. Oh yes, it's already freezing back. Unfortunately, this seasons mod apparently is not... It doesn't care much about the... well, any other mod like that. Go away. Nonetheless, at least now you can see what I mean there. Alright friends, let's just wait until night time. I'll make a little cut here and truly look with wonder and joy upon our creation today. Alright friends, as you can see, as is our habit, we have created something very nice and beautiful, comforting, cozy today. We have a lovely hot spring here where you can have a little bath. If you feel like having a drink or reading, you can do that even in the water. You can come out here while being wrapped tightly in a towel. You can sit right next to the fire so that you're dry and warm very quickly. You can keep reading there if you wish to, while admiring this beautiful scenery in the background and being watched over by our friends there. And of course, if you feel like having a drink or a little treat to eat, you can come to the winter bar. Check out the menu, sit down, have some mulled wine, have some tea, have a cookie or perhaps a piece of bacon, and completely give yourself to the holiday spirit. Allow yourself to sink into that. Friends, thank you very much. I truly appreciate you joining me today as well. I only hope that you get as much relaxation and fun out of these videos as much as I do. I wish you a great festive period with relaxation, good times with family, friends, perhaps some board games, or just quiet but quality time spent together. I wish you nice presents, if that's a habit that you adhere to. I wish you a lot of efficient and quick recharging after the, how do I say it, hectic mess that this year has been, for some of us at least. I thank you again for joining the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and goodbye.